see Detroit, baby. We out here. You see what's going on. We activated. We ain't playing no games.
You need to have that look. Because I feel like if you have that look and you go to a label, they're gonna be like, yo, your videos are sweet. Da, da, da. So that was my whole thought process.
So what artists allowed you to do that, and what artists did you kind of struggle with doing that?
It was a lot of like the street rappers weren't really trying to like do that type of stuff. They were just wanting to do what they wanted to do, you know. But artists like Courtney, I'm trying to think. Me and Rudy didn't link up to 2001. Or it might have been the end of 2020. I can't remember. Rudy was really cool about doing conceptual stuff. Who else? There was a few people. I can't.
Who wasn't?
Who wasn't?
Yeah.
Damn.
And
I want to say they weren't exactly. Damn.
But it was a challenge more so.
Yeah.
Not that they were, and that's understandable because you know, in order to do stuff like that, you kind of gotta step outside your. And some people is just real street guys.
Yeah, but I'll say this though, because
uncomfortable.
A lot of the time, a lot of these artists I work with, I've worked with, they were so used to me being like that run and gun guy. You know, like I'll just pull up, shoot some shit, and go home, edit, and boom. And so I think they weren't really like about me doing that stuff, you know, doing that stuff. So, but I love Vez to death, man. That's my brother. But
for sure.
Sometimes we clashed. You know, we clashed a couple times. You know, like, hey man, like let's try to do this. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. I think,
and he's still with it though. I just had to. The thing was, I had to fit his. And that's another thing to learn. I would say is a advice.
Great lesson.
Is you have to fit the brand. And I wasn't fitting his brand. And that was the thing. That's where we clashed.
Got you.
It wasn't because he wasn't trying to do it. It was because I wasn't thinking about his brand. I was thinking about myself.
Absolutely.
I
get that. I get that.
We do this because I'm like, I want to do it, but I want to do it with an artist that's known, you know? But to him, it was like, well, this isn't me, you know? So that's where we were like not in the same.
No, and that's understandable. To be honest with you, that's good because now that gives you that flexibility when you know. Well,
then also take in consideration a brand of an artist. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because sometimes you do have to figure like, okay, this is their brand. How can I fit that brand? So I do more research. You're not new of as, but I was just trying to push my ideas on him without considering like, hey, how can we make this idea work for you?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's as a director, that's kind of your job is like to enhance their brand, basically. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily change it, but like enhance it into
make it bigger.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's where that was a clash for me.
Absolutely. So if we could just a little bit like for those who may not know, what's like some of the director politics, if there is? Like I feel like every industry has its politics. What would be like the politics for directors and videographers that people may not know?
I think a lot of times when somebody finds artists they work with, they kind of like sticking with them, and directors are the same way. But I feel like a lot of the politics is like it's kind of like being rappers. Like we compete with each other visually. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of it comes down to probably like goofy shit like locations, use of locations, or like the artists they work with. You know what I mean? Like because sometimes a director artist might have a couple directors they want to work with. You know, and it's just like, and when the term, like to me, like the term being thrown around all the time loosely is like the GOAT. And I'm like, bro, like I don't even think I'll flex sometimes, I'll talk shit, but I don't even think I'm that because I'm not nowhere near as where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? But you see that around all the time, you know, and it's like I feel like I don't know, these guys just accept it, which is cool, but I think a lot of guys that don't is because they're pushing themselves. So I feel like I think a lot of it is just trying to outdo each other, honestly.
Most definitely.
You know, and who can work with this artist better than him? You know what I mean? Like I want to work with so and so better than him, so I can show I'm better than this guy. You know because a lot of it's like that.
I kind of saw maybe like a month or two ago. I forget.
You're talking about that $500 video discussion thing?
Yeah. So like if you could talk a little bit about that in terms of artists like more established directors having, you know, feeling some type of way with other people charging low prices?
I mean, it's like anything, bro. Like, I mean, imagine you're selling drugs and you're selling drugs at a certain rate, and then somebody else is like, you know what? I'm gonna just undercut all this shit. You know, doesn't mean their shit is better,
Right,
but just
right.
they're fucking up the game. You know what I
Right.
mean? Now, with the $500 thing, I can see. To me, I can see where it can work because I'm gonna be real. Like a lot of artists we work with aren't signed or aren't. They might have regular jobs, so 500 might be all they can really afford.
That's
but they
real.
have a dream. I mean, like Courtney Bell's a perfect example. When me and him first started working, he didn't have a lot of money. He didn't have much to throw at me. So we still work though. And it's because I believed in him.
That's
So
real.
it's a give and take, man. Honestly, how you want to handle it. Personally, right now, like at the time, it depends where you're at in your career too. You know what I mean? 500 might be good for somebody that's like, you know, starting off or like in the middle. You know what I mean? To me, I'm honestly, if somebody came to me right now with a dope song and they're super dope and they're really down to do some creative shit, I might do a $500 video.
But they gotta be dope. It
It's
gotta be
to me. It's gotta
like.
move me. And it's gotta be something that we can do. We can pull some shit off. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying flood me with no.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Get
But
this correct. Look in the camera. And let's get this
like,
understanding now.
Yeah, like you know, I mean, again, like a lot of times, you know, I don't want to. Nobody wants to miss out on an opportunity to work with somebody that's dope, just because they're lacking on a certain area of their life at the time. You know, if I never would have messed with Courtney Courtney Bell. Who knows who, you know what I'm saying? Like where we'd be at right now.
For sure. Cause
I'm saying.
Courtney is one of them ones, bro, where like he about to be like, to me, like the Kendrick Lamar.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Like he gonna be big, bro.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I mean?
And again, if I was like on some stubborn, like, oh, I don't think, I never would have established that working relationship that we have now, and the creative relationship that we have now. I mean, some of my best videos come from because I work with Courtney.
For sure.
You know, he was able to, you know, his life changed, you know, in a better direction. So, and then later on, then all that shit came out. Like the money shit worked itself out. You know what I'm saying? So, again, relationships are a lot better than money.
For sure.
You know what I mean? You need money. Obviously, everybody needs money, but again, the relationship is a lot better.
Absolutely.
Now, on the flip side of like, even if you have that one dope song, like your budget's only 500, you also try to have Courtney was consistent. He was consistent.
Right.
He was consistent.
So you can, yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? And there was, I'm not gonna lie, there was times that he didn't even have no money, and I'm like, bro, let's just shoot it. Come on. Like,
That's real.
You know, I don't even care. Like, let's just shoot this video. You know, or like these freestyles. He was just consistent, and that's when when he got into a certain position, and people are like knowing about him. And again, that sometimes that relationship is just a lot stronger than the amount of money. That shit will come later on.
So the respect for directors in Detroit. Do you feel that? Because me personally, I'm gonna go on record and saying that I feel like producers and directors always seem to get the
short.
Bro. Like, what's your thoughts on that? Like,
I agree. No, I do. I agree. Okay. I feel like because we're not an entertainment type city like Atlanta, New York, LA, you know, a lot of times we get looked at a certain way, you know, and people go to those cities because they want to become these big producers, directors, whatever. So when you come here, they look at us like, are you just a camera guy, or just this, or you just make beats, or da da da. You know what I mean? They don't look at the art into it. They don't look at the talent. Facts. You really have to like be established. You know what I'm saying? Even if you are, a lot of times people don't care. They just want a motherfucker with good quality camera. You know what I mean? To shoot their shit. And it's just like, so as far as that goes, like, no, definitely, like, I would say the respect level is like barely getting there where it's supposed to be.
And that's a struggle in Detroit because Detroit people don't respect shit anyway. Like, you got some of the most arrogant, you feel me? Like, so I can only imagine just kind of, like.
Well, I mean, you know, I was lucky enough to do stuff out of town, you know, in certain area. Like, I've done stuff obviously in New York and LA, and it's the way they like the way everybody treats the director is the way different. I'm like, yo, this is weird.
Mm.
It was only weird because I wasn't used to it. You know, it was like it felt like a level of respect was like it was like a shift. You know, I'm like,
what does
shit.
that look like in real time? Like,
it's just like, hey, you know, they're like asking me what I need. Is this good? Like I was able to make decisions that, you know, normally an artist wants to handle, you know, and now it's like, now obviously that how I am now, artists just like, I just tell them, like, look, just show up, bro. You know, I got everything else handled.
Sure.
And they trust that, you know, but that's how it is. When we did the shit with Fab, I had a team, you know what I mean? Like people that were putting the studio, stuff at the studio together. I had a camera team, everything. Like I had a producer that made sure I made her a list. She got it together. You get what I'm saying? So there was just but it always came back to me like as the boss, like as I'm the manager type shit. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is the final yes and no was like
came through you,
you know? And I'm like, bet. But we don't often get that here. You know what I mean? And again, it's just because we don't have that structure. Because a lot of artists, now that they're getting signed, they're starting to realize because they get to work with
other, and they get to see like, so it's like, damn, maybe I need to start
when they
taking care of
throwing around certain terms of me. I'm like, you definitely have worked with, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's because we don't have that structure here, and it's not because it's artist's fault. I feel like it does kind of fall on us. You know what I mean? It falls on how we handle shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I wasn't handling the things how I'm supposed to handle, like on the video side, and the structure I'm giving it how I'm giving it now, then they're not going to give you that respect either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of times it's how you handle this shit too. I feel like,
sure.
But again, it's like people aren't like a lot of artists aren't used to it. You know, they're just not used to like doing certain things. You know what I mean? Same thing with when they're probably producing music. You know what I mean? Like sometimes a producer has an idea like, oh, you should do or like say this at this point, you know, whatever, during a song. It's just the same thing as directing.
Most definitely.
Like if I'm shooting a scene, like, hey, this specific scene, I need you to do this because I know when I'm going to edit or whatever, I want it to be a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're still lacking in the structure.
But it's progressive.
It's progressing for sure. But I think it's because a lot of times us as the creatives aren't taking the time to learn, you know, I don't want to say the business side, but like the more background, like how to put things together, like in a, I guess, responsible way. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but like, you know, like I'll have artists that I normally wouldn't ask you for like a call sheet. So if I tell a motherfucker you got a call sheet, 9 times out of 10, if they might know,
right?
But it's just really like a thing where the location's gonna be at the time.
Yeah,
the
you gotta be direct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's
you gotta initiate what you looking for.
I mean, you don't always need it, obviously, stuff like that, because you're just like, sometimes I'm just handling one-on-ones, but like, if I feel like for us to evolve, for like labels to be like, hey, we should start just all these Detroit artists that we're signing, keep them in Detroit to do these things because we have capable, but if we're not us figuring out how to do certain things, they're not going to come to us.